Okay, this video will cover how to make updates to pages, and I'll do a brief tutorial on how to use the Visual Composer. Okay, one thing I want to point out, now that I'm logged into the website as an administrator, I want you to notice that there's this black bar at the top. This only shows for you being logged into the site. If I were to log out, it'll go away, and that's what everybody else will see. They will not see this bar. But because I'm logged in as an administrator, I get some tools at the top that I can use on the front end of the site. Okay, that's important because using the Visual Composer will be easy for you to be able to just click some of these things and be able to make updates to the site. So let's say, for instance, I want to update something on the About Us page. I'm going to click the About Us menu, and I see this page, uh, and the timeline and everything is there. But let's say I want to either add a paragraph to the About Us page, or I want to edit something that's there. As an administrator, because I have this link, I could go and edit with the Visual Composer. If you click that button, what it does is it begins to open up the page so that you can do like a drag and drop visual editor. Okay, you know you're in there because now you'll see this blue bar, and when you start to scroll over different elements of the page, you'll see all of these little tabs that let you know what you're looking at. So what I've done is this content is in a row, which has been divided into two sections, one section for the menu and one section for the text. And then I have over in this side a header and a text block. Okay, so I want to edit the text block. By clicking the pencil, I can go do that, and it brings up a box where I can now see the content that's been written in this section. I'm going to make it a little bit longer so we have more playing space. Okay, now you'll notice that it has a visual text editor. Um, doesn't have everything here, which is because it's okay. Yeah, so what I'll do is here I can start to add my new text. And let's just say I copy, paste, paste. Uh-oh. Getting carried away here. So now I have a new paragraph. If I save my changes, you'll see that it began to add that new content to the end of the paragraph. Um, the public is not going to see this until I press update. Okay, so anytime you make changes is really preview mode, and then once you get it the way you want it to look, press update, and it'll publish to the so that everyone else can see your changes. Okay, so let's say I don't want that anymore. I'm gonna go back in and edit this and just kind of take out this paragraph. So I'll just delete the paragraph. If there are any other changes I want to make, like say for instance, I want ETT to be bold, I can do that, or things like that. Now, this usually has more options. I have to see why it's not giving you all the options so that you can change like the type, but maybe this is good enough. Let's see what I'll do. Say I want to make a new section called new section, but I want it to be a header. Instead of trying to change the font size and make it bigger and things like that, you use the presets called header 2, and then it'll go back to paragraph, and I begin to type my other information, and then I can save it, and I'll see the changes that I've just made. So I made ETT bold, I made a new section, I have a new paragraph. So hopefully this is clear and you understand how this works. I'm going to go in here and take out everything that I've just done. The little boxes also, you can move it around in case it gets into a place where it's inconvenient to look at. So I'm going to save my changes so it goes back to normal. Now, also, I want to bring up every single element, and what I mean by element is like there's a header, there's a text box, there's, this is called a sidebar, this is called a header, this is called a text box. Like every single thing, you can go in and edit. And so, and I want to just share with you, and they have their own settings as well. So, like for instance, this heading setting, most of this is the same. Like I've set it for you. You don't have to do anything. But let's say, for instance, you want another header that kind of looks like this, and you're trying to figure out, well, how do I get it to be orange and in script and things like that? The best thing I would suggest for you is to duplicate it. So next to the editor button, you can clone it. Click that, and you can do this for anything. So like say you like that, and then you drag it down to underneath the text, and now you can go in and just change the text. So it kept all the settings. I have the font, I have the tag, the size, all that stuff you don't have to worry about. All you have to worry about is changing what it says, which is, oh God, where is it? It's here somewhere. Here it is, about us. So let's say I want to call it new section. I change the name, I click save, and now I have new section. Then I notice it's a little close to the paragraph above it. I want to give it some space. So all of these elements also have what is called a CSS section, where you can begin to add some spacing to your element. So right now I know it's too close. I want to add some space between that and the paragraph above it. So I may add 30 pixels of margin. Okay, so now it's just added 30 pixels of space between this and the space above it. And so that's pretty much all you need to know. I mean, you can do that. This box kind of shows you how. If I wanted to add space to the right or to the right or to the left or below it, I could do that in the margin. If I wanted to add a border around it, like say I wanted to add a border of 1 around this, and this is just plain teaching you how the Visual Composer works. And I want the border to be green and um, a solid border. And I click save. And now you can see it gives me a border around my section. Okay, so here's just another tip about this. There's a difference between margin and padding, right? The reason why I added a border is so that you can see it. So the 30 pixels is everything outside of the border. So this is 30 pixels here. And let's say I wanted to add like not margin but padding to it. Like for instance, this is too close to this border and I wanted, say I give the whole thing a background of green. Okay, and I just wanted that. I want to move this thing over. I wouldn't add a margin of 30 because I'll do it so you can see it. It moves the whole thing over, right? That's not what I want. Instead, I want to add a padding. I want to get the word off of the edge. So this is inside the border. Okay, so instead of giving it a margin of 30, it gave it a padding of 30. And so now I have, it looks the way I want it to look. Okay, the reason why I went through this exercise is so that if there's anything that you're setting up in the future, say you want a background or something like that, and you're looking at this like, how does this work? Margin is outside the border, padding is inside the border. You can add a border as big as you want. It could be 10 pixels. Let's say I want a border of 10 pixels above and I want to change the color to teal. Okay, so it gave it a border of 10 at the top and a border of 1 on every other side. So it's so much that you can do with it, but I just really wanted to explain how that works in case you were feeling creative and wanted to do something different with your site. If you have any questions about this, just feel free to let me know. What I'm going to do is go ahead and take all of this off. I've simplified the controls so I can just remove all corners at the same time. And then I'm going to remove the colors by clearing it out. remove the background by clearing it out. Nothing. So then I'm going to save. It takes it all back to normal. And then I don't need this, so I'm going to delete it. Okay. And I'm back to where I was. So feel free. This is available on all the pages. Once you're done with your changes, what you'll do is you'll click update. Or if you didn't make any changes at all, you just click the X button. In order to get out of Visual Composer, you click X and it'll take you back to the page. And now you can see what it looks like to everyone else. Okay, so it was just a quick view of the Visual Composer from the front end. But let's say if you want to do this from the back end for whatever reason, you'll click Edit Page. And what it'll do is it'll take you to the page and how it looks in the back end. So this is the same information, it's just less graphical. As you can see, I still have my row, which is broken up into two sections with the sidebar and the heading and the text box and the row and the heading, and all of that. So it basically gives you the view of it without all the graphics. But you do the exact same thing. Like say if I want to edit this text box, I press that and I can do the same thing I did on the front end. Okay. I just showed you the front end because I think it'll be a lot easier for you to be able to see what you're doing. But if you wanted to ever preview it, if you're out here, you click preview changes and it'll show you a preview in the page in the tab next to it. If you're here and you're making changes, then you make your changes and then you click update and then it'll save all of your changes. Um, and that's how you will update your pages. Now, as far as navigating to your pages, the easiest way is to go to the front end. What I just did. If you're ever in the back end and you want to go back to the front end, you can hover over exposing the truth and then click visit site. It'll take you back to the home page and then you can just go to any of your pages that you want to see and then you can just edit it from there, using the Visual Composer. But if you're in the back end, then and you're trying to find a page, what you can do is just go to pages and then you'll get a listing of all the pages of your website and then you can say, okay, I want to look at get involved, and so I'll edit the page here, or I can edit with Visual Composer, which takes you back to the front end. But I just wanted to show you where everything is so that you can navigate the way you need to. As you notice, I click edit and now I'm getting like all of this gibberish and all of the code is showing. If this ever happens, make sure you click on backend editor and then it'll begin to put everything in the columns and where it's supposed to be. Okay, if you have any other questions, just let me know. Hopefully this was self-explanatory and easy for you to follow. Thanks.